Welcome to the Workforce of the Future podcast. I'm Jacques DeBose with Mix Consulting. I'm here with my friend Adam Blanchard, a man who wears many hats. Most importantly, he's partnered with us on our Nexus Workforce Expo of the Future. So, Adam, glad to have you on the podcast, and I want to welcome you and thank you for partnering with us. So, share a little bit about what you do and what interested you in coming along for the expo.
Yeah, well, Jacques, thank you for having me on. It's been great to meet you and get to know you. And I will say me and my team are very excited about the Nexus conference. I think being here in San Antonio couldn't be a better place to have an event like this. And I think, as I know, we'll get into some of our experiences with staffing near shore, some of the solutions we've come up with. I'm excited for other people to learn about, because I'd say it's about time we small business owners have an opportunity to compete with the big guys. And so look forward to talking with you more about that.
100%. So if you want to share a little bit about your background and your story and how all of this came to be, and it's exciting how your BPO came to light as well. But if you want to share your experiences and what decided this is the road I'm going to take and this is my path as an entrepreneur and businessman.
Yeah, it's as you probably know, many of your listeners know, it's an entrepreneurial career usually takes many paths, whether it's pivoting from one thing to another or just development of different verticals within the needs that you have. And so I guess very briefly, I started off my career as an attorney. Actually, I went to Texas Tech Law School, not born and raised, actually just grew up in the Panhandle up in Amarillo.
Nice.
And when I got out of school, I'm a third generation lawyer, and it just wasn't something that suited me. I didn't want to battle every day. And so I met a really good friend of mine when I was in Lubbock, and we decided we'd start us a trucking company. And so we started with one truck back in 2014. We've grown our trucking company to around 85 to 90 trucks right now. I've got about 285 trailers. It really blessed with a great team. I know that sounds cliche, but the reality is, we've had a lot of success there, and it's been a lot of fun. And after we started our trucking company, we started our freight brokerage as well, Tanager Logistics. And so as we grew over the years, especially as we came into COVID, we also, during COVID, started our commercial real estate brokerage and development company, and have since started a construction company behind that, just to vertically integrate the service offerings that we have for our customers.
Sure.
But during the course of that, especially during COVID, I'm sure as you and your listeners know, a lot of workforce issues out there.
A lot of challenges.
Just tough to find people. Yeah. It was, a whole host of different things. And so, I've always been very supportive of the people on my team, taking their advice and recommendations. So I had a guy that worked with me back then, and he had suggested that we look at potentially going to Ukraine to hire some people, which young, country boy from Amarillo, Texas, I thought that was bananas. But, I always want to encourage my leadership to bring new ideas, and I want us to be supportive of those ideas. So fast forward, we ultimately flew over there. It was obviously well prior to the current war, which is a travesty having been to that country, but we had a lot of success. Then fast forward, we ended up hiring more staff through a third party out of Poland. And this was for our freight brokerage. And it was just incredibly successful for us. They were very hardworking. They were willing to work the hours that we needed. They brought skill sets, great English speaking skills, writing skills, and just had a lot of success there. And as a result of that, we knew with our trucking company, especially with a lot of Spanish speaking drivers, it was critical for us to have staff that speak Spanish. And
sure.
In San Antonio, as you and I both know, I know you're from Bernie, but you're from the overall metro.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how contentious that is in Bernie.
Not at all. We love it. It's a great suburb of Bernie.
I have learned never tell somebody from New Braunfels that they're from San Antonio. So I just want to make sure I'm not inappropriate there. But we in San Antonio, a lot of Spanish speakers certainly, but still there is within the workforce itself, especially within the logistics space, there just wasn't as many as I'd expected. And so we started looking around at Mexico, Central and South America. And I looked at a multitude of factors from the geopolitical environment, to English proficiency rates. And ultimately we came down to Costa Rica. I refer to Costa Rica as the Switzerland of Central and South America.
Oh, nice.
They've always had a very close geopolitical relationship with the United States. They have no standing army, and they haven't been teaching their population, their children growing up, due to how much tourism is down there,
Right.
English. And so was real impressed with that. Got into a free trade zone there, which certainly helped the business economics. But we opened up down there year or two ago and have had a lot of success. I've got over 30 employees down there and have several friends that are doing it with me now. I kind of originally did it. I was like, I'll put up the cash, guys, because, I did want to hire a third party. I was a little concerned.
Right.
Are they going to renegotiate me on the contract and the other things? And so I did it myself. I've done it with some friends of mine. And so we're using this platform really to give other people the opportunity to staff down there, because if you look at the business environment down there, it is a lot of the big multinationals. There's the Amazons, there's the Microsofts, there's the Ciscos. And so they're utilizing the labor cost and really the talent that they have in these other countries. And so we're not doing that, but we're doing it with smaller businesses like myself and my friends. So look forward to sharing more about that at Nexus and more on the podcast. You tell me what you want to get into.
Yeah,
certainly start developing that.
I guess one question, I know you shared with me a while back about going to law school and being a lawyer. Do you think that helped prepare you for becoming this serial entrepreneur and venturing out and being more risk, able to take risk and see beyond what other people see that are risk averse?
Yeah, I think, if you want to be an entrepreneur, there's a combination of two things. I think first, you've got to have the right mindset, right? You have to be driven. You can't take no for an answer. So I think if you have that core skill set, I certainly, Jacques, would not change my career trajectory. I think that's what we talked about is certainly there would have been some benefit of getting an MBA versus going to law school. And I actually did consider that. But, being an attorney makes you so hyper analytical. I mean, what you get from law school is a PhD in analytics, basically. I mean, they tell you your first day in law school, we're not going to teach you how to be a lawyer. We're going to teach you how to think like a lawyer. And so, that certainly has made me hyper analytical and has certainly helped in my evaluation of how we do things internally.
Okay. So going back, you said 2014 started the trucking company and 11 years later, you guys have blown up. I mean, I'm sure it was, the pace was pretty quick, but I mean, still that's amazing in that short of time frame. And then you started logistics. And so for folks that don't understand how that whole world works, they just know my stuff shows up at the store where I get it and how does all that happen? And they see the 18 wheelers, but you want to share a little bit about how that, freight brokerage and logistics and trucking for the everyday person out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, those of your listeners, I'm sure, that are in business, there's two different segments of logistics, right? So there's less than truckload and full truckload. So if you're doing drop shipments, that's typically going to be a less than truckload transportation provider. So think of UPS, FedEx, Old Dominion, Saia, if you're doing 1 or 2 pallets at a time. Then as you get larger, you ended up getting a lot of cost savings by utilizing a full truckload, which is mostly what we do is full truckload freight. We do some LTL, but it's generally full truckload. And so, the evolution of it was basically us doing everything. Should have gone broke at least 3 times, I can tell you, and battling through that to ultimately started changing compensation structures. We do a lot of commission-based have a lot of commission-based positions for our freight brokerage, but the way that it really works is you're going to utilize LTL at the beginning. And then as you grow up, you're going to start doing full truckload. And there's really 2 areas within logistics that you're going to go to. You're either going to go to a company that owns and operates their own trucks and trailers, or you're going to utilize an intermediary, which is a freight broker. And a lot of people out there would say, why would I utilize a freight broker? I should just take out the middleman and bring in the cost savings. The reality is a brokerage like ours, we have 18,000 trucks and trucking companies in our network. And so our ability to, our buying power and our sophistication is just a lot more. It comes with a lot of additional work that you have to do to ensure that they're safe, good carrier to use, but you're basically leveraging our network in order to be able to transport those goods. And so a lot of people use freight brokers until they get to the size they want to start negotiating with the larger trucking companies.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. A lot of people don't, like you said, why should I go to a brokerage company or a broker that does whatever it is? Yep. And so I found, the more that I get involved with the tech world and partnering with a company called Talaris, who's a brokerage company, they're able to leverage so much more for their customers. Anything B2B tech related that any company's going to need, they can provide it and provide 24/7 service. Because it's such a big pool, like you're saying, they can get better cost savings than if you went direct to, that specific company or Spectrum, AT&T, whatever you're looking at, somebody to put in your phone systems or internet. Because they're such a huge brokerage company and they have all these experts and engineers, they can get those problems taken care of. They can get you up and running or help a new business start. So definitely I've been educated on why it's important to go to a broker when you find a challenge or when you're looking for somebody to get your stuff shipped out or whatever it may be.
It allows you to focus on your core business, right? These
Right.
customers of ours, their core business is not the transportation of those goods. That's just a natural expense and just part of their sales cycle. And so that is our core business. And so we utilize technology that they wouldn't know about.
Right.
There's, we have a forward-focused ability on the way in which we interact with customers. We help a lot of people that are starting to expand or grow into different regions where we will help give them pricing for their business models that they're putting together to see
Sure.
if it works. And so that they could do the research on their own, but is that really the best and highest use of their time? Because ultimately, as a business owner or even an executive, the most important commodity we have is our time.
Exactly.
So if we can speed
Right.
up the time in which people have to deal with these things, I think it's much better for them.
Yeah, that's interesting. And so talking about Buena Vista Solutions, one, I love the name, it's a great name. And you identified that problem, if we can get back to that, that I'm going to find a solution. People like you are fascinating. I admire people like that there's a problem. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to, get through the roadblocks and make a plan. And so it's business owners and entrepreneurs like you that make the world go around, because good things that happen because of your ingenuity and finding a way to get to yes.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, Jacques. I wish everybody had that attitude, Jacques, because I get it. As many people telling me they think I'm bananas. So I get as many people think I'm crazy for what I do. But, ultimately, I've been very fortunate that it worked. And, and that many of those things do work. At first, people don't, I think, understand my strategy, but I'm just a big believer in vertical integration. And you certainly don't want to get outside of your lane.
Right.
I still want to stay in my lane and focus on my core businesses, which is logistics and real estate. But you also at times have to realize that there is risk, especially when you're talking about human capital, right? Because our employees are capital to our businesses all the same as fixed assets, whether it's trucks or trailers or computers.
100%.
I mean, and I don't say that to make them objective. It's just it's a large cost to all of our businesses. And so if I'm going to do that, I was very much of the opinion that I didn't want to go to one of these big BPO companies out there, and then I've got 30 employees like I have now, and they renegotiate my contract. That was concerning to me.
Right.
And so best way I could figure that we would handle it is let's do it ourselves, and then I'll bring other people in that I know to do it, and view it more of like a co-op kind of a model than just a bottom line driven large BPO, because there's those out there that exist, and no disrespect to them. Just wasn't for me. And I'm really glad that we did it our way, because we also translated our culture as a company within that organization to Buena Vista Solutions. So the employees that are working with us, we've been able to really drive the culture within there and the work ethic and the way in which we operate to those employees. And that's been very successful for us.
Yeah, that's exciting. Something that interests me is when I've talked with BPOs in South Africa and Belize and now Costa Rica, Mexico, just kind of all over. But what I've found in some of the areas like you're in is that these BPOs, like you, are providing a good job and good working conditions, an opportunity for someone to be gainfully employed doing something where they're not in another field where they may not make as much, but it's providing young people a good opportunity, a good wage, and then they can be an extension of your business, right? If I'm Mixed Consulting decides we're going to work with you and need somebody to do some stuff on that end, schedules, flight arrangements, all that, how would that work? One, I guess I'm jumping all over. One, I think that's what you're doing, is you're providing great opportunities for people in Costa Rica, like some of them I've met virtually, and I'll meet in person soon, but also the ability to grow another business, help them scale as well by using a BPO like yours.
No question. And I'm glad you brought that up, because you're exactly right. I think a lot of people out there have this misconceived notion that I'm hiring people outside the United States and that's un-American, right? Like I should, there's concern that you're going to be taking advantage of that labor market or those individuals or whatever the concern may be. I will tell you that these other countries have a much higher unemployment rate than the United States.
Yes.
We are very, very fortunate to have such a low unemployment rate in the United States. There's a ton of opportunity here. I can tell you in Costa Rica, for instance, they run at about an 11 to 13% unemployment rate.
Jeez.
And these are people that are mostly college educated and really very hardworking. In fact, a lot of the people that we hire have been affected by layoffs by larger companies that come in with us, and they've actually made us more sophisticated because they're taking some of the training from those larger companies and bringing that into my organization.
Sure.
Well, we're more of what I refer to as a garage band trucking company, but we're trying to grow up as a company and try to be more sophisticated in the way in which we're doing things. So they love these jobs. And what's interesting too is a lot of people in Costa Rica love the graveyard shift. I mean, tell me an organization in the United States that can find somebody that enjoys working a graveyard shift. Those are the most difficult positions to find. Whereas over there, they're really, I'm not going to say everybody loves them, but you would be shocked at how many people are willing to work those hours and enjoy working them because it gives them opportunities to study during the day and do whatever else that they enjoy doing. And so, they're very sophisticated, very smart, and they appreciate the opportunity. And I think certainly working with companies that have a common vision and culture that suits them, because it is a little bit different than big corporate America too.
Right. I think you nailed it. It is interesting that people want to work that shift. I did a career in the world's finest Navy, and so plugged to the Navy, but I had to work some graveyard. You don't have a choice, right? There's things going on. You're working that graveyard shift, that night shift. It had zero appeal to me as a young sailor. And even now, it's not something I'd want to do, but some people, they thrive in that environment, right? They're night owls. I got a friend in Austin. He's got his own business, couple businesses, but he likes to do a lot at nighttime. That's when his energies are going and all. I can't function that well at night. So
it sounds like my worst nightmare too. But what's interesting is we went over and trained the people in Ukraine and Poland. I really loved the schedule because you got your mornings to yourself because we're still asleep here, right? You're plus 7 hours, similar to South Africa. I think they're in around the same time zone. And so we would get up and actually go tour around town and kind of see historical things. And then about noon, 1 o'clock, we get started. And, you do work a little bit later. I would prefer to work later, to 8, 9, 10 than get up ultra early.
Sure.
But I didn't really mind that. And the people over there don't mind it. But the beauty of Costa Rica is they're in the same time zone as we are. Now, they don't do daylight savings, so you do have a 1 hour flex there, but it's really nice having them in the same time zone. I mean, you just can't get away from that. And we looked at Colombia too, a lot larger population. The problem is that really only the people under 35 have really spent much time learning English. And so your English proficiency rate down there is much lower than like a Costa Rica where we're, 1 out of every 2 or 3 has at least the English proficiency, reading and writing that we need. And so they're just amazing people. I mean, it's Puta Vida, right? Like everybody loves traveling to Costa Rica. Just imagine having the opportunity to get down there and train some people. And the guy that runs my office, James, we're actually donating a Costa Rica trip to the Texas Trucking Association this week at our annual conference. But he's my friends that are staffing with me down there, he'll set them up on tours on the weekends. We've even done it with my employees in the U.S. that go down and train because we have a beautiful office down there. And frankly, is probably the nicest office I have. So I love being down there. And so there's just a lot of other intangibles that come with it.
Yeah, I think for me to get a little more insight of BVS, I probably need to go down there and do like a educational myself and check it out so I can better promote your business. So.
I love hearing that, Jacques, and I'd be happy to do that. And we're going to go fishing too. All right, we're going to go down to Los Sueños and we'll get on a boat and go out there and do some bill fishing, see if we can get you on some sailfish and marlin. And
nice. And so I think the huge appeal before we jump to a break is one, time zone adjacent, like you said. English is not a big issue, right? And you help craft that culture for your team there with James and the rest of your folks that you have there. And I think that's a big appeal. So in a bit, we'll talk about, how I come to you as a business owner. What's the vetting process? How do you identify my needs and how do I get on board as a client of BVS and how my needs can be met to free up some more of my time. Cut that part out. More of my time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think another thing too, just don't forget, they're also highly educated. Almost every employee we have has a college degree, and
Right.
the fact that they speak Spanish too. Those are two additional things that are very important.
That's huge.
Especially in Texas, where we have so many Spanish speakers now.
Right.
I mean, San Antonio is kind of the capital of South Texas. So
Yeah.
I've been told as an Amarillo boy, but a lot of our population speaks Spanish really as a first language. So there's a huge value there that we're utilizing out of Costa Rica.
This episode is brought to you by Nexus Expo SA. Nexus Expo SA is coming up August 25th and 26th at the Hotel Elan Resort and Spa. We hope to see you there. It's going to be an incredible lineup of speakers, an opportunity to meet with technology exhibitors and vendors, anything B2B that any business would need in the tech sector. We'll have exhibitors there that can talk to you about it. We'll have some exciting networking opportunities with our Ignite mixers on both days. On August 25th, after we wrap up at the Elan with Nexus Expo SA, we'll head over to the Rock and visit at the Spurs Club for a VIP event at the Spurs Club. We'd love to see you there. We still have attendee spots available, exhibitors available, and also if you want to be a sponsor, we have an opportunity for you to be a sponsor of Nexus Expo SA. So go to nexusexposa.com to register today. Yeah, so if you could walk me through that process, because a lot of people don't even know what a BPO is or what it stands for, and they're exploring, like, how do I scale my company? I'm not ready to hire 2 or 3 or 5 more FTEs here, but I do need some help to grow and I need some help with this. What does that process look like? And help me understand it and other people that might be curious and need your services.
Sure. Well, I can't tell you how it is with all of the other BPO companies out there, but I can certainly tell you how those initial calls and our process works at our company, which is very easy. Okay. There's always a degree of concern, as we were discussing earlier, about engaging in this and getting into the process of hiring outside the United States. And so what we do is we want to make it very easy and eliminate the concern. And so what we do is initially, we have our initial call, we will talk through what employees, what positions you're needing help with.
Okay.
And then all we need from that point is to send us a job description. We will assist you in creating one if you don't have them, but you can get us the general bullet points of what you're looking for. Then what we do is we will go out and start interviewing probably 20 or 30 people to see if they qualify. Now, at this point, there's no contract, nothing needed. What we want to do is just have the opportunity to earn your business. And so we will go out and bring you probably 3 candidates to interview yourself. And at that point, you can interview them. If one of them is the one you like, then what we do at that point, we'll sit down and talk with you through it, what the cost is. We will let you know ahead of time what general cost to expect. But then we'll formalize that in a contract once you actually decide you want to pull the trigger on it. And then from that point, we will help you with the onboarding, which I think is very important. And we're also very involved. So James, that runs my office down there, actually came from a large consulting firm. And so we've had friends of mine that will come on and they already have a training and onboarding process. So they're basically telling me, hey, Adam, just go find them. Once we give you the green light, let's bring them on full time. They already have a full computer setup ready for them. Twin monitors, laptops, docking station, the whole setup. You don't have to worry about any of that. There's other friends of mine though that have come on and said, Adam, we don't really have a training process. We don't really have an onboarding process. And so we will oftentimes help them develop that. Okay. And James basically serves as your local HR down there. So we will have monthly reviews with you to make sure everything's going well. That usually extends into quarterly reviews of just making sure everybody's where they need to be. And then we found most people at that point start to want to hire more because everything's working real well. And so, yeah, but the nice thing with us, Jacques, is look, I own the company. I'm certainly, as you can probably tell, and we've gotten to know each other. To me, there's not really rules in how we're doing things in the sense of it has to fit within this box. So I've had friends come to me and say, hey, can we do like a variation? We don't currently do part-time employees, but certainly we can look at those kinds of things. I mean, to me, it's about giving people that I enjoy working with the opportunity to come work with us and having the success that we're having down there.
So if I'm coming to you, say I'm looking for an executive coordinator that can do a lot of the things we talked about earlier, you would find those candidates, identify that these are the right people. I think this is a good fit for your company. And then how does that interview process take, where I kind of get to know you with those candidates of yours?
Yeah, so James and Raquel down there will, like I said, interview about 20 candidates.
Okay.
We will make sure that they have the English proficiency, both reading and writing, to meet your needs to begin with. And then we utilize a lot of the internal processes that we have with hiring that include making sure they've got the right skill sets, personality traits to be successful. And then what we will do is likely bring you 2 to 3 candidates that we think are ones that you'll like. And at that point, you'll do an interview with them, with James and or Raquel, walk through the questions that you have, make sure they're a good fit. If you need to do a follow-up interview, we can certainly arrange that. But that's the general process, is just bringing you people so that you have a good feel of what you're hiring. Because if you've never done this before, Jacques, you're freaked out a little bit. You're scared. You're
completely
like, hey,
new territory.
This is new to me. I mean, I don't want to sign any documents. I don't want to sign any contracts before I have a good feeling about this and that it's going to work, knowing that I have the right quality of talent that I could expect here in the United States, which we have certainly found down there. And so it's not until you feel fully comfortable that we're even going to talk about next steps. And then when we do, we can move quickly. And usually down there, like the U.S., sometimes if they are employed, you need a couple of weeks to get them on board as they can give their, notice. And we want them to certainly respect the people they work with now and all that. Yeah. But it's a very quick turnaround. We already have the office place set up, and then we'll immediately get them into onboarding. And you can come down and utilize our conference room to train. We've had people do that.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Or you can do it virtually. We have a whole teleconferencing capability down there if you want to do it remotely. And so it's a pretty much a turnkey operation. And unlike other big BPOs that have a minimum requirement of people that you have to hire to start with them, there's no minimum with us. And so I think that's a huge advantage, because a lot of the big ones out there are going to require a certain minimum number of folks that have to come on with you. With us, we want you to to ultimately have that sense of comfort before you start hiring again. But we've never had anybody that started hiring with us that hasn't continued to hire with us and started hiring more people. You can
retention and growth.
It's been great. And the reality is you can do it everything from an executive assistant all the way up to, accounting managers. I mean, we have almost all of our accounts payable processing down there. We have almost all of our invoicing is done down there. We have dispatchers for Double Diamond. We have freight brokers for Tanager Logistics. One of our accounting managers is now down there, and we even have a director level position down there with us. And so I think in terms of what positions can you hire down there, you can really hire any position. We have made the decision to really keep our upper management leadership in the U.S. and backfill a lot of the resources that they need within their departments down there. That's what's worked best for us. But we even have people running certain departments down there full time now.
It sounds like you're pretty unique. I've talked with other BPOs and looked at the websites and even associations around the world and what they offer. But to be able to come down there if you want and meet with that person and meet in the conference room and kind of vet them in person and offer that up, it sounds pretty unique. And it sounds like a concierge service, but at an affordable, reasonable price. Instead of me bringing on 3 or 4 people, I can find a resource with Buena Vista Solutions who can meet the needs that I have, right? And then for when I was at a conference in Austin a while back, there was a concern about like, okay, how do I pay these companies? Because a lot of the people I talked to at this conference, and it was running remote, so it was all about remote workforce and working with people in different places, different countries. But there was companies there that said, I want to pay in USD to a company that's their HQ is in, headquarters is in the US. How does that work? What kind of expenses is it going to be? Not like cost, but like I'm going to pay in US currency. I don't have to worry about invoicing, exchanging, and exchange rates and all that good stuff, right?
No, yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, Jacques. That's something I remember going through this exercise myself, but it's been so long now. I think it's kind of second nature to me, but that's a great question. It's always a concern for small business owners, especially those that haven't done this, and even big businesses for that matter. But if you haven't done it, your concern is, at least mine was, and granted, I was an attorney first, so I've got this weird brain that is anxiety driven on things like this. But your concern is, okay, do I need to register as a company in this other country in order to transact business there? If I don't do that, is that going to create an issue for me, whether it's from a taxing standpoint, a regulatory standpoint, or otherwise? What we have done, and it's been vetted, is we have our U.S. company, Buena Vista Solutions, LLC. It's a Texas limited liability company.
Okay.
Every month, we issue you an invoice from there. You pay that company directly in the U.S. and U.S. dollars. It's essentially a 1099 relationship that you're going to have for these staff. And then we own that subsidiary in Costa Rica. We pay all of our payroll taxes. We're not shortcutting the system.
Right.
So we pay all our payroll taxes down there. All the Social Security. In fact, we give additional benefits to them down there, like health insurance, which is kind of a fringe benefit that countries that have socialized medicine, I'm coming to find out, is more of a thing.
Yes.
In the U.S., let's not even get into healthcare. Ours is busted, unique. Basically. But yeah, you're paying a U.S. company. You just have the ability to go down there and train them. And I loved what you said earlier. I wish I could have recorded it. I guess you are recording, so maybe I can snip it out. But that was really our thesis in this is a staffing company built by business owners for business owners. And it is very much a kind of bespoke boutique type feel because the decision makers aren't corporate. There's not a lot of layers of management here where we're trying to drive volume. We're trying to drive quality and giving people the opportunity. And ultimately, it helps me cover some of my overhead, Jacques. But ultimately, this company is not the main revenue driver for us either. It's just something that is saving us a tremendous amount of cost. And so the more people that do this with us, the better it is. And if they have feedback for us on how we can perform better, that's the beauty of working with us opposed to a large BPO. I mean, you're just going to have a different feel, and you're going to have my phone number and James's phone number, and you're going to be able to essentially have your own office down there without all the upfront cost I had to go through, which was substantial, but a blessing now. We're obviously reaping the rewards of that, and I think other people are too.
Yeah. So I come to you as a client. We do the vetting process. I meet with the candidates, hire somebody, and get them onboarded, have them my training program, or as you said, you can craft something for a company to do that. Then I'm just paying that invoice to your company here in the U.S.
every month.
It's a business expense for me. No headaches. I don't have to worry about payroll. I don't have to worry about benefits. But I have that person in place, or a team of people in place, to meet those needs of a growing business, or somebody that's launching a new business, but they don't want to bring that person on board as a FTE here, right?
Yeah.
You could provide that. And let's talk a little bit. Let's talk about the verticals that you are open to and what y'all do.
Yeah. So, we, as we mentioned, as we discussed earlier before the break, we have our logistics side, and those are pretty large companies at this time. I mean, for I guess relative, they're big to us, and got a lot of employees, and there's been a lot of revenue growth there, and it's been great. I love that. My heart's really in starting and building businesses. Once they get big, you end up with a lot of the HR problems, and then just to me, it's less exciting when they get to scale. Now, it is very rewarding when they get to scale because you're finally making money, and you know how it is. It takes forever to make money. People think they get into this game to get rich quick. It's a long game, right? 3 to 5 years at least. And so we have those, but what's been really exciting for us recently is, our commercial real estate brokerage, Lana Realty Partners, is doing fantastic. We've got a team of, I think, 5 full-time brokers here in San Antonio. We just expanded to Austin, servicing a lot of industrial buyers, sellers, lessors, lessees. And so we do a lot of the commercial industrial space, retail, a little bit of office, but not much there. And that also has allowed us to start investing in real estate. Okay. And so we're using Estacado Development Group that my partner, Colin Mills, and I spend a lot of time on. So we've already bought probably 10 warehouses throughout the state so far. We're about to start a real estate investment fund that's going to be a lot of fun. We're kind of working through the finer details of that now, but hoping we get that launched by the 1st of September. And so hoping we get an opportunity to buy a bunch of real estate here in the state of Texas in the next 4 or 5 years and make our investors some money and hopefully have the opportunity to earn some of that with them too. So it's fun. And then last thing we have is our construction side that is used as a value added, service to our existing clients, whether it's on the real estate brokerage side or our development side. But all have been a lot of fun. They're new. I say new. been around for about 5 years now, at least the real estate brokerage. It still feels new. COVID was like a time warp.
It really was, right?
Really started ramping up the development side the last couple of years, and the construction companies knew. And what's interesting about those two is that we are utilizing our staff in Costa Rica for them as well. I mean, as you're ramping a business,
Sure.
You're very cost sensitive. And so when we can bring in high quality talent to help us, especially on the administrative side of things, that's a cost savings that is big, and it helps a lot because you're not eating up office space as a smaller business too. So there's kind of these intangible benefits that are coming from it. But certainly everybody in our organization, and I have different partners in businesses, many of them the same, some different. And because we have the resources that we've built through the years for things like this, BPO and otherwise, is everybody's now afforded the opportunity to benefit from it, which has been a ton of fun for me to see.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah.
So Lano, let's talk about that a little bit and explore more. If somebody's looking for that as an avenue or a prospect for you, what can they find, and what can Lano Realty Partners do for them?
Anything in the commercial real estate space that you need, we can service. We are a full stack. I mean, we compete a lot with CBRE, JLL, the other ones out there. And if you need warehouse space, you need retail space, you need office space, whether you want to go buy that property, you're looking to sell that property, you as a business owner need to go lease it, or you own some you need to lease, we can help you with all that. We do property management. I mean, we're full stack like the rest of them. And
nice.
Yeah, it's funny. We recently hired Frank Harris that was
UTSA
quarterback, and he put it on his LinkedIn that he was working with us. And I had more friends come in there like, Adam, I didn't realize you had a commercial real estate brokerage. I'm like, it takes Frank Harris to get the word out. I think
to get a little attention, right?
We're like number 3 to number 5, depending on the metrics of industrial in San Antonio in terms of our volume of leasing. And so we actually have, with a small team, really relative to some of the other shops, have had a tremendous amount of success, and these guys are doing a great job. And so seeing their success is always fun. And yeah, we're highly proficient in industrial, but are definitely developing that skill set within retail. So anybody out there that needs help from a local, young, hungry group of entrepreneurial minded salespeople, they ought to reach out to us. It's LanoRealty.com's our website, but you can look us up online. Our office is right here by Cabo Bob's at 410 and Broadway, where we're sitting now, Jacques. But we can help you with anything there. And I think you see a lot of people, especially that do listings, they put up their sign, but then they don't go hustle trying to get that vacancy filled. Our motto and our concept from the very beginning was we're going to be aggressive, whether we're a listing agent or a tenant representative agent. And this team has done a fantastic job. There's been a lot of properties, more than I can count, that we've not only listed it, but we've been able to fill it. And you don't see that a lot.
No, that's true.
In the industrial, in the commercial real estate space. So they're hungry, they're aggressive, and that's what you're looking for. Certainly, I would say, obviously, very biased that there's not a better team you could ask for than these guys.
I've met some of your people. You got a great team here assembled here in other places. What was the website again?
It's LanoRealty.com.
Yeah.
So Lano, like the city, LLANO, Realty.com.
Yeah. And I like Lano. It's a beautiful place. But
well, people, I wear the hat all the time. They're like, "Oh, you've got a real estate company in Lano, Texas?" I'm like, "No, ma'am, I don't," or "No, sir, I don't." It's actually out of San Antonio. We started as Lano and Estacado, so the Llano Estacado.
Oh, I love it.
Which is most of the state, from like where I grew up in Amarillo down here. And so I split the name up, and one was Lano and the other was Estacado. So that's how we came up with it.
Man, there's that Gary P. Nunn has a song with that in it. So
yeah.
I'm a big Gary P. Nunn fan. I've met him a few times and got his book. So
people that enjoy country or have lived in that part of the state appreciate it more than others.
Right. Yeah, that's cool. Let's talk a little bit about more on, you said the development side is a little, not the Estacado. That's something that is it like a symbiotic relationship with Lano, or how does that work?
So Lano Realty Partners is a licensed commercial real estate broker.
Right.
So they are out there representing, whether they're cold calling, trying to find properties for people, or out there hustling business to earn the ability to work with folks to list or sell their properties. They work closely with Estacado Development Group because when they're making those calls, they find a lot of off-market properties that people want to sell. And so if it doesn't fit within the investments that are institutional clients that are looking to buy, if it doesn't fill that,
Estacado
Development Group will come in and buy that property. And so we source a lot of our deals through our commercial real estate brokerage. So they'll find warehouses, mostly Class B warehouses. They'll find that for us, and we'll purchase that with our group of investors.
That's incredible. I mean, I sitting here right now, I'm wondering, like, what's it like to see the wheels turning? Like, you're an idea guy and you make things happen and you partner with the right people to get it done. And you strike me as, I'm like how do you get the yes on something? I'm the same way. Some people are like, well, we have to follow every rule, but I mean, I'm about getting a yes and making it right for my clients or for business. And so, it's just like so many business opportunities here that you offer under one roof, sort of, but it's pretty amazing what all you do. So just excited to visit with somebody like you. And what's the most exciting thing to you with your businesses now?
I would say certainly this real estate investment fund. I mean, we're going to raise $25 to $30 million in this real estate investment fund, and it's going to be a blast going and buying all that real estate. And then the construction company, we have some really strong young men in that organization, and watching them grow and develop is going to be a blast. So surrounding yourself with people better and smarter than you is the way to do it. And it's been a blessing to watch these guys work, and we got a lot of fun things to come. So I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you about it today.
Yeah, we might have to come back and do something different. There's so many things you got going on. I appreciate your time. Yeah. I also wanted to say thank you for being our title sponsor for Nexus Expo. That's coming up August 25th and 26th at the Elan. If you get your tickets and registration, you'll be able to hear Adam speak. He's a brilliant mind. Glad to get to know him, and we hope to see you there at nexusexposa.com is how you get registered. But thanks so much for your time. I appreciate it, and thank you for welcoming us into your office.
Thank you.